Hi everyone, this is Deidre, and I am so excited to tell you about this project today. About 2 years ago I took up biking, and I didn't go and spend $1,000 on a super light bike. I just went and looked on Craigslist, found a hybrid bike that I could ride on the greenways around here, and at that it was like 33 pounds, that bike. And that's pretty typical for these hybrid bikes that you see that women like me like to buy. And what I was noticing very quickly after I got the bike was I really didn't like having to lift it all the time to get it on the rack. Now granted, I did buy what's called a platform rack, and these platform racks go into the hitch and they do sit a little lower than say the ones that you have to lift up to here, or even the ones that you put on the bar and then you have to lift the whole bar. That's a lot of weight. It's a lot of weight for someone small like me, someone a little older, and actually I fall into that category too. So for me, finding a way to get my bike on my rack without having to lift it was a big goal of mine. So what I'm going to share with you today is how I took this platform bike rack, and with only $20 in modifications, I was able to create a ramped bike rack, and I just pushed that 33-pound bike up onto it, and it works just great. So what I'm going to show you is how this bike rack came, and what I did was I modified the front track, but I did nothing to the back. So as you see, the back is how it comes, and right now this bike rack is available on Amazon for $60, so I'm going to be sure and include a link, which is a much better price than what I paid for it. And then you'll have the $20 in modifications, and then you'll be good to go. So on the back of this, and how it came, was it has the tire guides, it has these side pieces that connect to this centerpiece in the back, and then you have this piece that comes forward, and then that second side piece, and the other tire guide. So the first thing we did was we removed that right side tire guide, because that's where we're going to put our ramp. So after removing the tire guide, the next thing we did was, if you'll notice the side pieces, they are bolted to that center piece underneath. And what I was trying to do was, make this smooth channel going across. So what I did was I unbolted these and I moved it to the top. And by moving it to the top, what that does is it brings it very close in line with the height of this center bar that comes out from the hitch. So we unbolt that, and we bring it up here, and that allows us to roll those tires very smoothly across there. So on the left and the right sides, unbolt this side piece, and actually when you assemble it, just assemble it this way, and then put that on the top. And that's going to give you just a small gap right over the centerpiece. So after you move those two side bars, then we get on to the $20 in materials you're going to need for this modification. One is to pick up a 10-foot section of 2-inch diameter PVC pipe, like you see here. And I believe this costs about $6 or $7 at Home Depot or Lowe's. And also pick up, this is a shelf bracket, and this shelf bracket has enough rigidity to allow the 4-foot ramp to not bend so much. So again, this is I think it's a 47.5-inch piece of shelf bracket, and it also, I believe, was $7.50 at Home Depot and Lowe's. Lastly, what you're going to need is something called a T-plate. And you can find this, I believe this was in the lumber section, for joining together if you're doing some type of either roofing or framing. So this is a 3x3, and it's, I think it's zinc plated. Yeah, it's zinc plated. Now, we did not think ahead to purchase this before we started our project, so we actually had to make something out of a piece of stainless that we had here. But this is a very inexpensive, I think this was 2 for $2.50. So that's where your $20 in materials are going to come from. So with that 10-foot section of PVC pipe, what you want to do is you want to first cut a 2-foot section. So if you know PVC pipe, you can cut very easily. You can cut it with a handsaw, you can cut it with a miter saw. We use this little oscillating, I believe it's an oscillating cutter, is what we use. So very easy to cut, and what you need to do is kind of chop cut one 2-foot section. So you're going to take that, and then after you have that 1 2-foot section, you can mark it and cut the cross section in half. So you'll see that you're going to get that channel. So that's going to be the 2-foot sections that you need for either side of the rack for that bike tire to run through. Then also from that piece of pipe, you're going to want to cut a 4-foot section. And with that 4-foot section, you do the same thing. You cut the cross section in half, just like we did the 2-foot sections, but you're only going to need one of those channels, and that's for the ramp. So I went ahead and painted mine black just to neaten things up a little bit. So you'll see from this tire guide to the center post that comes out from the hitch, you have that 2-foot section of the PVC pipe that you cut in cross section in half, and that makes that nice channel right down there for the tires. So you have the first 2-foot section, and then you have the second 2-foot section, and those were just very easily put on to that aluminum, just like you see right back there is what we're working with some self-tapping screws. Okay, very easy. Now what you're going to see is where those two pieces come together, we have just the slightest hump right there to go over that center bar, and I have to tell you, I've tested it, it works great. So you can take the T-brace that I showed you, and all you want to do is bend it on the top right here such that it hugs that aluminum bar, and then what you're going to do is just give a slight bend to this portion, and that's going to allow that 4-foot section of ramp to come up and make a nice transition right here. We just made, and what you're going to use that T-brace for, is just a bracket that completely just slips right on top of that metal bar. And that way, I'm going to store this in the back of my car. When I get to where I need to be, just pull it out, slips right on, and we're good to go. So after you have that bracket attached, we're really pretty much finished. This is the piece of shelf bracket that we put on the back of this 4-foot section just to give it a little stability. So again, that was part of our $20 budget for this project. So you can just put that on there, and then we're basically finished. And here is the finished product. That 4-foot section is just going to be in the back of my car, and then the bike runs up that, and that's where we removed that front tire guide. Easy transition there, and then across the 2 channels, and put the front tire in the tire guide. So the way that this bike rack works is once you get the bike up, whether you lift it, or in my case I'm going to ramp it up, it has these 2 touch points that all you have to do is put Velcro straps through. And I have to tell you, I've been driving with this for 2 years, and that bike's not going anywhere. And because I did remove that 1 tire guide on the front, you can see it in the back for that second bike, but for this one I just put 1 more touch point to hold that in, and the bike is in there just super solid. So here's the final demonstration on just how easily now I can put my bike on this bike rack with only the $20 modification. The 4-foot section that fits very easily in the back. Drop it straight on. There we go. I love it. This is going to make my life so much easier. So I hope this works for you. If you have any questions, please try and post them in the comments, and I'll get back to you. Again, this should be pretty easy for you to do. And on this rack, the Velcro straps, just simply Velcro onto the loops, and you are ready to go for a great day of biking. Take care.